let's answer some questions and let's see how this all plays out. Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani.
It's the moment.
Live from the Box Studios in
What is the moment?
New York City. It's on the nose.
Mike said it's the moment.
And now,
to
answer your questions.
This is usually
get out of your seats
more lively,
and on your feet because here he is.
Well, there's a lot, the reason,
I know. I get it.
The reason why, the show started late was because I'm trying to gather the nuts and do my due diligence, and I looked up and I was like, oh shit, it's 101. So I apologize for that. And now things are happening in real time. So it's just been a crazy thing. It's been a while since we've had one of these, to be honest. And this is actually one of those times where I wish I looked at the questions beforehand.
Oh God.
Because if only because
I can roll up the sleeves and moderate.
No. Because I want to get to the this is not a day where I want to talk about wine etiquette. You know what I'm saying? So let me just try to filter as we go through. Here's one for us from Gilbert. Ariel, just wanted to check in on the Perth card in August. From what I've heard and seen, we are getting Izzy/DDP, but I feel like there has been nothing that I've seen that indicates that's still the plan. Can you give us a scoop? What's the no smelling for 305? I mean, that is what they were leaning towards. Does all of this throw a wrench? I don't think so. I think that is still the plan, but everything is kind of at play right now. And like I said, there's only so many guys available. Now, could you conceivably throw out a replacement to fight Chandler? Chandler has to agree and probably have to get paid the same. But who is even, big enough to do that? I would say the only one who's big enough is Max Holloway. And last I heard, that wasn't a strong possibility. But I mean, it would be perfect because he's supremely popular at the moment, and it just kind of, it's perfect for the BMF champ, right? It's just exactly what the BMF is all about. But other than that, I just don't know if there's a fight that totally makes sense. Like DP, obviously not. Title fight, obviously not. I mean, maybe Charles. Again, this is not me reporting anything. I'm just trying to brainstorm with all of you. It's not, it's not an easy one. I don't envy them. I don't envy Hunter Campbell right now, who's the guy who has to, figure this out. Really, it's a committee of 4, as you've seen on the new series, UFC Inc. But, he's the one on the front lines. There's no doubt about it. And you saw a little bit his ability, and it's impressive to get things done. And so he's going to have to do that again. And, they've had to pivot on shorter notice, believe it or not. But, the clock is definitely ticking, and there's just so much at stake. There's just so much financially tied to all of this. Steven, Shalom Ariel, do you think the reason behind the Dublin press conference cancellation will be revealed after the fight, or will the nature of the cancellation preclude it from coming out? Do you think it will be apparent at the press conference the week of 303? Well, clearly this was written before all this news came out, and I think that once we find out the fate of the fight, we will hopefully get a lot more clarity to everything that has gone down. Hello, Ariel and crew, from Juan Sanchez. Question for you today regarding the UFC Hall of Fame. What distinguishes the modern wing from the pioneer wing? Is it a year, an event, a change of ownership? The modern wing is essentially the Zuffa era. The pioneer wing would be the SEG era. And that pretty much is like 2001 prior, 2001 post. So SEG with Bob Meyerowitz was 93 to 01, essentially. And then Zuffa was 01 to today. Oh, here's Ant Evans, who claims he put together the whole Hall of Fame, weighing in on that one. So I might as well read what he had to say. Ariel, hi Juan. Ariel and New York Rick both hate my beautiful Hall of Fame with a passion most normal people reserve for war criminals. So let me take this one. Directly quoted from the UFC Hall of Fame FAQ that I wrote in 2015, of course, and has been on UFC.com ever since. Why use UFC 28, November 2001, which is essentially, I said, right, like 2001 on, as the dividing line between Pioneer and Modern Era? UFC 28, held on November 17, 2000, was the first event to use the unified rules of mixed martial arts. Okay, great point. And is thus considered by many historians and experts, including UFC official statisticians, fight metric to be the first event of the modern era. Before UFC 28, the rules for each event and even each fight varied depending on where, when, and who was fighting. After UFC 28, the rules were standardized. Thank you for that, Ed. Really, probably the best contribution you've made to the program since you came back into our lives. Leroy Jenkins, Ariel, just wanted to pay you a couple of compliments. I thought your take in last week's OTN regarding Trump and his presence at events was cogent. Is it cogent? Am I saying that correctly? I think so. Fair. And I commend, me? Is it cogent? C-O-G-E-N-T?
I think so, yeah.
And I commend you for not dodging a topic that was surely on the minds of many. You kept things objective, nonpartisan, and anyone who had a problem with anything you said is showing their own bias. Your interview with Dustin yesterday was one for the ages. He's my favorite fighter, and I love seeing you two chop it up. I think Dustin is always well-spoken, but the dynamic you have with him brings out the absolute best. Now for the heel turn. I wish I had a Men in Black memory eraser for the rest of last week's OTN. You know what we don't fucks with? You dithering around on your phone or computer as we listen to dead air, making the crew scramble to fill the void, and then getting irritated when they try to do that because you think they're talking to you. Oh, the irony. Irony. My question is, do you have a worse episode or MMA Hour moment that stands out to you, and how long did it take you to stop thinking about it after the fact, specifically one that you felt responsible for, not Sasha Banks? She was in MMA Hour. All love. Leroy Jenkins. I mean, I think that's
Leroy's not on.
Leroy is
by the way,
off the cuff.
no. It's appreciated. I think it's very unfair. Dithering around on the phone. By the way, I'm not texting my wife what to have for dinner. I'm trying to update you. I'm trying to update all of you. So last week, what happened, if memory serves me correct, Cheeto and I were talking about when he was going to come on the show, and he never confirmed the time. So I didn't want to bother him anymore. And then the time that we had talked about, or that I had pitched, came up. It was back into the show, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, which is exactly the same time that he was on Monday. And he's like, you never sent me the link. And I was like, oh, I didn't think you were in because you never confirmed. And so we were going back and forth on that while I was doing OTN on the back end. You can see the time last week on the show. So it's like I'm trying my best, you know? I'm trying my best here. And I don't think I was getting irritated at anyone. In fact, I would love a cue to be, if I'm dithering on the phone, as you put it, Leroy, for someone to take the baton. Go ahead. Jump in there. Rick's not here, right?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Was that his cue to pass the baton to him?
No. But I think, I think he knows what I'm talking about. But like, this is an open invitation. Anytime you guys want to jump in, please jump in.
You got it.
I feel like I've made that pretty clear. No,
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's in.
I didn't feel like you were irritated with us.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Leroy doesn't speak for all of us.
Who was Leroy? Was Leroy someone within the control room?
Plot thickens.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I think someone mentioned they thought you were playing Candy Crush or something.
Yeah, no. I would love to.
Dithering's a good word.
Dithering's a great word. As an audio guy, I do respect the dither, but inappropriate.
David Velasquez, Ariel, thoughts on Invicta, now part of CBS Sports Network? Any insight as to why they left Access TV? Oh, and here's Ant Evans. I mean, Ant Evans has become the, what was the name of that guy? Matt Moe? Was he Matt Moe?
Yes. Matt Moe, the one that is
I like how my favorite thing is that he writes, I can help here. No one asked for his help, but he's offering it, which is perfect. Anthem Sports and Entertainment bought Invicta 3 years ago and put the first few shows on its wholly owned Access TV channel. However, Access is not in many homes, and it didn't find an audience there. Anthem didn't invest in the product like it could have, and it began to lose momentum. Good for them, though. They got a CBS deal. Hopefully, it'll recover the audience there. Yes, I mean, it's CBS Sports Network. It's not the biggest platform, but good to be involved with a cable TV network that's going to hopefully air them on their linear platform and hopefully digitally as well. Their future seemed very murky for a minute. I think we need Invicta. I think it's extremely important to have an Invicta. I think it's a really, really, really important piece of the MMA puzzle, the MMA landscape. If you go back like 10 years ago, if you go back to, 2013, 2012, 2014, the whole strawweight division came from Invicta. And they developed so many stars that are, Grasso and they had Cyborg on there, and Carla Esparza, and Irene Aldana, Amanda Nunes was on there, Joanne Calderwood was on there, Rose Namajunas was on there, and this is top of my head. So many names. And so we should all be rooting for them to survive and thrive. And so this is great. I'm very happy to see this, and let's see. And it's great that they have a schedule. It's great that they have like an actual lineup of events coming up. This is all amazing news, in my opinion. Shannon Knapp is a survivor, and she has been in this business for a very long time and has probably had many ups and downs and probably a lot of moments where she thought, you know what, enough of this. But here she is with a solid partner, and hopefully they support her and they can stick around for a very long time. Need More Frank says, talk to me about an MMA moment that brings incomparable emotion / feeling to you. I'm admittedly having a rough go with my business lately and found myself rewatching Edwards versus Usman 1 last night. Dave Lavelle's between-round commentary, coupled with the knockout and post-fight speech, pretty much brings me to tears every time. Don't even get me started on the interview with Tim and Leon the Monday after your show. Although this moment is always a mix of emotions for me, I always feel it gives me a little extra ruach to persevere through these hard times. Amen. Do you or the crew have any similar MMA moments you turn to during hard times? Thank you and the entire crew for everything you do. This show gives me so much joy weekly. And then he added a meow, by the way. Is there a moment? I'm curious from you, GC, because you dove into the sport with two feet and like you've immersed yourself. Is there a moment that gives you the same type of feeling inside, warm feeling, emotion, all that stuff?
I mean, there's been a lot since I started on the show, but there's nothing that I really look to during hard times. Like, I'm not going to go watch the Usman head kick or like Sugar knocking out Aljo or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, there's been some times that have evoked some insane emotion. Maybe next time I'm on hard times, I'll go back and watch the Holloway knocking Gaethje out.
You think that's it?
And see if it picks me up. I mean, that's probably the craziest I've ever acted during a fight.
Right.
Was when he face planted Gaethje. So yeah, maybe I'll give that a try next time I'm on hard times.
Just curious, what is your favorite moment? Like, what is your favorite moment since you were in this crazy sport, since you arrived?
It's tough not to say the Holloway Gaethje knockout.
Wow.
I mean, it was so good. It was so good. Leon Usman is up there. I mean, the whole Yuri versus Glover fight, I was on vacation during that one, and I was watching it at like 7 a.m. In Italy, so I just have really fond memories of that. The Sugar moment was insane. Even the ones where like the guy that I was cheering for, like Gaethje knocking Poirier out, or like Topuria knocking Volk out, they're just such crazy moments that I'll never forget them. I mean, there's a million. It feels like we're gonna get a new one within a matter of months here. I mean, when Strickland beat Izzy, I mean, there's countless ones. What about you? You've been around for forever.
Yeah.
What do you go to when Ariel's down in the dumps? You're pulling up Fight Pass. What are you watching?
One of my favorite moments ever was when GSP beat Matt Hughes, because I've told the story of being in a bar in Montreal and telling my friends, hey, there's this guy named GSP. He's from our city. Like, we need to support him. This is a huge fight. He lost to this guy. It's UFC 65. It's in Sacramento, of all places. Like, we need to watch this fight. And so we went to a bar, and I thought that we'd be the only ones there because I didn't know anyone who was a fan of MMA. And then I got there and I was like, holy shit, there's a line around the block. People actually care. And then we sat through the whole main card, and then GSP showed up, and then he head kicked him and won the belt. And he was super emotional, and I was emotional. And that's really the moment where I said, like, I want to be a part of this. I love this way too much to not be a part of it. And that was 2006. So that to me is like and obviously an easier one to tap into because like I wasn't a journalist, and now I try really hard to not get emotionally invested. Like I said before, we are human beings, so it's just going to happen. But that's my favorite one. If I'm being 1,000% honest, it's the moments that give me the best feeling, and I feel the best watching are moments when I was a kid, and it's pertaining to the Knicks mainly. Like when I watch Larry Johnson's 4-point play, when I watch Ewing slamming home John Starks' missed layup in 1994, when I watch Ewing dunking over Mourning in 2000, things like that, the Starks dunk in 1983, all that stuff, the Houston shot, like I actually understand completely what this gentleman is talking about. Like there are moments where I'm just like, you know what? I just want to feel something good inside. You certainly have moments like that, right? Georgia. So like I get that. Old telecasts, old moments, old interviews. I totally get that. 1,000%. You know moments like that?
Yeah, most of mine are like,
football.
Like I recently watched like a 45-minute video on the 2007 college football season just because of how insane it was.
It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, some stuff like that. It's good.
By the way, I kind of jumped into on the nose, but your thoughts on 303?
One of my friends asked me how confident I was in it happening on Monday morning, and I said 10 out of 10. It's definitely not 10 out of 10 anymore.
So what do you think they should
4
do?
out of 10? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing all this of, like you said, Yuri at the Octagon event on Saturday, and he asks if he's going to do it, and supposedly he said he was going to sign a contract, and the guy speculated about him filling in at 303, and he supposedly said, nice speculation. But, I mean, Pereira is in Australia right now. The fight is in 17 days. I don't know.
The Australia part doesn't concern me as much because if you look at his social media, his head coach is with him. So conceivably, could they just say, okay, we're just going to like post up here and train here? And like Pereira's that kind of guy. Dare I say, Pereira is him. He's that dude, as my son likes to say, he's Himathias. He's, yesterday, my son came down, Walter, he's the one who usually gives me these lines. He came down first, well before his siblings to leave for school. And I was like, how are you always, here first? How do you always beat them? You all wake up at the same time. Why are you always down first? And he said, I'm built different. This is a 10-year-old, by the way. And dare I say, Alex Pereira, built different, right? He comes from that kickboxing mentality.
I just can't appreciate these stories enough. Last week it was he made a layup.
He did.
It was like, I'm Himothy.
Yeah.
Now he gets up and walks down the stairs. I'm built different.
Yeah.
Just him going through everyday tasks and talking about how elite that makes him will never get old for me. This is great stuff.
This is
Himathias?
Yeah, he says Himathias.
What does that rhyme with?
Matthias.
I don't know.
Oh, you're just adding the HI on the.
Oh yeah.
I think it's very
Under
clever.
that?
I fucks with it.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
another one.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Yeah, I guess not. 10 years old, they wouldn't be saying that.
What?
Fucks.
I'm pretty
No,
sure
they don't say that.
Oh.
But like it's crazy. In the car, we're talking about Kendrick and Drake, and I've pretty much given up to now.
Who do they think won? Yeah.
We are Drake fans, but
you are Drake fans. You're a Champagne Poppy family.
Yes,
you've
but
admitted defeat.
We haven't admitted defeat, but we
This
can't
agnostic.
deny the fact that some of those Kendrick songs are bangers. I mean, not like us. I mean, that's a banger. That's a banger.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
want to say it's like the fastest to reach like 500 million streams or something, or however many it's at.
in fact, I entitled this week's On the Nose solicitation post. Not
I
like
saw that.
I mean, it's just because that's all they're playing. But
should we put it in the Drake playlist? So when you're like, I need a banger, I'm like, well, here's Kendrick. I should do it. All right.
I mean, anything was better than the songs you chose.
All right.
You were choosing.
I mean, sometimes I'll go on YouTube and just type in just ambient sounds, and I'm like, I think this is the exact playlist that Frank was playing.
By the way,
their Neurogum, they got
for like a palm reading.
By the way, you were playing like the interlude. You weren't even playing. So you were playing like
some people fucks with the interlude. I'm one of them.
You were playing like the 3-minute piece that they play, like like when it's there's a Jay-Z track where it's like da na 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 na, thank you, you're far too kind, and then there's that whole other part on the back where he's just like, thank you to this person. That's what you were playing.
Yeah,
right.
Well, a lot of albums have interludes.
Jazz, right?
Sure.
Frank downloaded it's the interlude
silence
album.
Between the notes. That's the real music.
Yeah.
So the interlude between the tracks. That's the best work Drake's ever done.
Sure. Great for when people are filing into a live show.
Yeah. Turn off the auto-tune. Enjoy the vibes.
My favorite part about that was how many times we said, hey, can you just play Drake? And then he switched to like 4 different songs before finally going to Drake.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. Oh, no, not only that, the songs would stop midway. They would just stop.
All of this was extremely intentional.
I think this was Frank coming out that he's a Kendrick Lamar stan.
All right, fair enough. Is there any? Okay, how about this exercise? Because I'm being honest, like a lot of these questions are great, but they're not. There's only one thing that we really need to be talking about right now, in my opinion. So we could get to the other ones later. Is there any fight that will soften the blow? Is there any matchup? Is there any sort of permutation of 2 people being matched up together that people will be like, mother effer, but I'm still down. I fucks with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect term for it, is soften the blow. Like, that's the best that you can hope to do. Like, you just cannot replace Conor McGregor coming back from 3 years away and fighting Mike Chandler, which was assured to be just an absolutely insane fight. Soften the blow, like Alex versus Yuri too would soften the blow for sure. Anything beyond that that's actually feasible happening, I don't know, man.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
Is there any fight where someone who has a ticket booked to Vegas is like, nah, I'll still go?
Go, yes.
Yeah, like I'm going to go to Vegas.
Think that they're getting their money's worth? No way.
I'm
no.
thinking like someone who's, all right, well, I'm going to take the credit with the airline, wait till Conor's actually coming back, and I'm going to check it in then.
I was talking about this yesterday with someone, and I think most people who have like already set their heart on going will still go, but will just be bummed. Because as we said, like this isn't a boxing card, right? They're not going to scrap it. That is like DEFCON 1, and I don't think they're there yet, anywhere near there. And so I think there's most people who are like, fuck it, but we're still going to have a great time. It's Las Vegas in June, and we'll go to the Hall of Fame, and we'll go to UFC X, and we'll have a great time. And and just be happy that we get to see Ian Gary versus MVP and others. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if we get that video of Dana White, unfortunately, with like him being like, hey guys, in front of the wall, I think you need to announce a new date for Conor and a new main event.
Yeah, I like how you
have to
made it equivalent to the turkey, right? with Tyson Fury, and
that softens the blow a little bit. But I don't see many options.
Definitely softens the blow of, all right, now we're going to do it in September, October, whenever, and instead we're going to do hypothetically Yuri versus Alex. Like, that's about the best that they could do.
The current plan is not the Sphere. That's not being talked about. And that kind of blows me away because I can't think of a better person to headline the Sphere than Conor. Like, imagine that Foggy Dew entrance in the Sphere.
In the Sphere. I just had a friend that went to a concert there and it looked just insane. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like for a fight night. I could not fathom what it would be like for a Conor McGregor fight night.
Yes. It would be insane. I don't think the Sphere card has to be fully Mexican Independence Day related. Who's saying no to a Conor fight? You know what I mean? Even if the rest of the card is Conor McGregor. It's one thing that I thought about yesterday, but I looked into it and there's no truth to it. There's no validity to this. But I was racking my brain. I'm sitting there like, okay, there's Yuri Alex. You know, can they get Max to fight Chandler? Can you do DDP Strickland? Can you do DDP Izzy? Can you do Volkanovski Chandler? These are all things that have been discussed, but none of them at the moment, obviously a done deal at all.
And didn't I just see an interview with DDP talking about like
he's waiting and all that?
Yeah, supposedly this is via Fight Wave of DDP saying like you have to be smart about your career. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for
I don't think he's doing
legacy and everything like that. Like taking a fight on 17 days notice does not seem like something that he's going to do.
Tough.
Put his belt on the line for the first time.
No. I think Strickland would do it.
Oh, for sure Strickland would do it. No doubt.
But
he did the back-to-back main events.
Sure.
And
he probably thinks like maybe it's going to be hard to get a title shot. It doesn't look like he's next, all that stuff. So maybe he does it. But you know what I was thinking? Here's like a total out of left field idea that I was thinking.
Throw it out.
You tell me if you think that this would help soften the blow. UFC pays out Fanmio. Give us Masvidal Diaz MMA main event 303. 1 week prior. Literally 7 days prior. Does that soften the blow?
I did not know where you were going with that when you mentioned Fanmio.
This is what I've been thinking about for the past 24 hours.
Man.
Does that soften the blow? I kind of think it does. No? Again, nothing is close. Nothing is in the stratosphere of Conor McGregor.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Just like my biggest thing with that like is what are the stakes tied to that?
It's just
like
interim BMF title. No, I'm just kidding.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Silver to the silver.
By the way, would there be okay? How about this stance? I don't know if anyone gets a bigger pop. There's two people that get a massive pop if they step in on short notice. I don't know if anyone gets a bigger pop than Max Holloway. Meaning, if they announce Holloway, the BMF champ, is stepping in, again, nothing is close to McGregor, but I think the fans are pretty damn happy. Agree or disagree? Holy shit! What a legend!
I think people would be
2 weeks notice.
Excited for sure. What if you did a
Pereira's the
combination
other.
of both? What if you did a combination of both?
2 fights. Jesus
You bought
Christ.
out Fanmio.
And
you buy out Fanmio and you get that as the co-main. Diaz Masvidal as the co-main, and then you get Holloway to step in against Chandler, or you get the light heavyweight title with Pereira versus Yuri. You get those two things, and you announce a new date for Conor. I mean, we're back. Is that going to happen?
By the way, if I'm Fanmio, I'm signing up for this yesterday. Take this off my hands.
July 6th, not doing $1 million buys?
I don't think so. Right? Here you go, guys. Here's $2 million. Thank you very much for keeping them on ice. Everyone's happy. MMA main event or co-main. And then you get something like, I don't know. The other one I was just going to say was I think Pereira gets a big, Pereira now is going to be fighting, if this would happen, 2 times at MSG.
Headline 300.
Headline 300 on
International Fight Week.
On relatively short notice, right?
Yep.
Now this would be International Fight Week, 2 division champion, the Miami fight. Like this would be an all-time. This would be like an unheard of run.
It would be his 9th UFC fight as well.
Not even 10. That is absurd. Yeah, this is a bummer, man. It is a huge bummer. I'm not gonna lie, because like I really wanted the newer fans to experience a Conor fight. We're all invested. Can he come back? Is he back? Can he regain his old form? I don't care how you feel about Michael Chandler. How do you not feel for him? You know what I mean? This dude has been patient. Oh, jeez.
It's been what? 19 months since we've seen him last?
Yeah, it will be November of 22.
Yeah, 2022. UFC 281? That's the last time we saw him?
Pereira was the middleweight champion. He's lost the belt and won a whole new title since then. You do wonder if there's a lesson to be learned here. And I don't think the UFC needs to learn this lesson, but it's just so hard to put all your eggs in one basket in this sport, Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And You can't say like every card needs 2 title fights because that's almost impossible. But I don't know how you fix situations like this. And to be fair, like there haven't been a lot of emergency situations like this where everyone was freaking out and they needed to scramble. These used to be a lot more common pre-PI days. But the PI helped, I think, curb a lot of these injuries, or last second disasters, or drug testing things. Like the PI really helped in a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that at some point we get some sort of resolution, some sort of
We're gonna have to, right?
Some sort of statement, by the way, nothing will make me happier than Dana going on his Instagram right now and being like, "You guys are a bunch of assholes,"
You guys.
Use guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, I did see a theory thrown out that like this is all just so like it can happen, and then he goes to the press conference and someone's like, "Do you see what Helwani said about the fight potentially being off?" And him just being like, a bunch of hooey. It didn't come from us. You can't trust.
If it didn't come from us, right? Which I predicted would happen at some point if this stayed the course, but it unfortunately doesn't look like it is at this precise moment. And something's got to give. I don't know. It's a tough situation. MVP Ian Gary. The other thing is, I don't think they would do this, but you pull it off pay-per-view and you make an ABC card. I don't know if you could do that because you can make up the pay-per-view.
International Fight Week becomes
like a glorified
fight night.
They've done that once before, back in like February of 17, I think it was. Might have been 18. It was a fight night, I think, with Wonderboy Thompson, but tough. It's interesting that all this is happening at the same time as the docu-series comes out, because I think people have a greater appreciation for all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and in particular, I've told you guys that Hunter's is the guy making these calls and doing this stuff, and so it's like I'm seeing all the memes, people posting of him, and like writing out what he's probably saying to people right now, and I think it's good that the fans know this, because every team, as you know, has a GM, has an owner, has a football operations, basketball operations guy. Like there's so many different people in the front office. To most fans, they think it's just the Dana show behind the scenes. Maybe Shelby, maybe McMaynard, but arguably the most instrumental person, the one who's like burning the midnight oil and calling everyone, is Hunter. So I don't envy him right now. I don't think this is a fun spot to be in at all.
You think we're going to get the behind the scenes of this on season 2?
Fuck. That would be great.
Riveting stuff.
Here's a writer. Don't know if On the Nose is before the Raul Rosas interview, but can you ask about what he was saying in that post-fight interview? Sounded like chiwiwi. Thanks, guys.
So someone asked him about it after he did it, and he just said it's something that him and his friends said.
Said it was just a fun word.
Yeah, like sometimes when I post a video of him like doing it, people are like, "This is like a Mexican chant that he says."
How's it sound again?
But supposedly it's just something him and his boys do.
Okay, well, I'll ask him.
Shout
19
out.
years old, makes sense.
This is a fun one considering what we've been talking about today. Alex Z. Ariel, given your credibility in the news breaking department, what are your thoughts on the Woj and Shams tension over the Lakers head coaching job? On a side note, who was your favorite insider before getting into the business? Love me some Bob McKenzie and the late Chris Mortensen. Much love to you and your crew. And by the way, rest in peace to the legend, Jerry West. Golly. I used to have a Jerry West jersey back in the day, the blue Minneapolis Lakers jersey with the cursive on it. Yeah, that is, I mean, to lose Jerry West and Bill Walton in the span of a couple of weeks is a huge bummer. People know him as the logo, but one of the greatest players of all time and then one of the greatest executives of all time. In any event, this is a fascinating story. Adrian Wojnarowski drops the news, I think last Thursday, that the Lakers are going to target Dan Hurley, who is the coach of UConn, back-to-back national champion. And, people who follow this sort of thing know that Woj wrote a book about Dan's father, the great Bob Hurley, Miracle at St. Anthony, I believe it is. He was the head coach for decades at St. Anthony's in Jersey City. And now that Dan isn't being considered, that he's dropped out, whatever, people are throwing shots saying that this was a sort of concerted effort on the part of Woj and or the Hurleys to get more money from UConn. And I saw Shams took a little subtle dig on the McAfee show. I mean, there's things that you can, attach to in that, I think the story came out at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. That though, if a story comes out at that time, it's usually something that was planted beforehand and talked about beforehand, not exactly breaking news per se that's happening in the moment. But these things definitely happen. And by the way, Shams throwing stones, he's 100% done that too. Everyone, you work with your sources. I mean, to pretend like this stuff doesn't happen is a little bit naive. But there's obviously a relationship there with the Hurley family, and the relationship could go both ways in the sense that it could just be a negotiation ploy, or he's just really close and he had the inside scoop. Like it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could just be like he's their trusted guy and they gave him the inside scoop. So I don't know what the story is, but the whole world of breaking news and insider, it's not a fun world. I'll tell you that much. Give me this every single day over that. And that's why I've kind of taken my foot off the gas a little bit. Obviously, when you need me to save the day for stories like this, I'm happy to, raise my hand. But the day-to-day is exhausting. I mean, you talk to these guys in person and they're staring at their phone all day, It's not very fun. Favorite insiders, yeah. I mean, you can't take anything away from Woj. He's incredible. He's prolific. Bob McKenzie back in the day, TSN, incredible. Peter Gammons back in the day, incredible. Peter Vesey back in the day on the NBA on NBC telecasts, incredible. Peter Vesey used to be on the halftime show on NBC, and one day someone linked to him on Twitter, and then I clicked on his profile and I was blocked. I don't even know how that's possible. I've never tweeted, I've never followed the guy. Some people do mass blocks. Think you could do that? I think that's what happened. Anyway, it's a crazy world.
Can I break the fourth wall real quick?
Please.
What's going on with your laptop? It hasn't made the sound in a while. It's not on.
It's just been on overdrive.
Okay, but it's not like you have it sitting on that case or anything.
No, and it's not warm.
Okay, well, maybe it's nothing.
Jeez. I thought you were going to offer up something fun.
That's it. Oh.
So good. We don't have our next guest, right?
No, sir.
Hey, Ariel, true or false? Jake Paul and Mike Perry fighting July 20th. This is from Adriano. I do know Jake Paul really wants to stay on the July 20th date. Netflix didn't want to explore anything else, so they moved it to November 15th. Mike Tyson fight. I do know Perry, one of the names discussed. I do know Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., another name discussed. I do know as of right now, it's not a done deal. And I do know that, there was some talk of Perry and Dennis. Dennis has talked about this on his social media, and that could still be in the mix as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he fights on the 20th, but as of right now, not a done deal, and he really does want to fight on the 20th. I'm down with it. I'm down with it in a silo, I'm down with it on paper. I do think it is a risk to take a fight before another fight, even if Mike Tyson is 57, because, Mike Perry's a dog and he can either win or cut you up or, there's risks when you fight people. How do you feel about this, GC? You like this?
Yeah, love it if it happens.
You like the fight. You're into the fight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, the dog that Mike Perry is, I think it would be excellent.
Who do you think wins that fight?
Would be amazing. Man, I don't know. I mean, Mike Perry's been doing boxing lately, but obviously bare knuckle, it's an entirely different sport. I feel like he has an advantage over anyone in that just because it is bare knuckle. But I want to see it. I mean, I think this is a nice test for Jake Paul. I'm really not too worried about the potential of it calling off the fight in November. I would rather him take the risk and stay on this card and fight Mike Perry. Plus, I'd love to see Mike Perry get a a nice little payday as well.
Yeah. By the way, you say the build. I mean, the build is like a month.
yeah. I guess it is like literally, what is it, 31 plus 8?
It's crazy.
A little simple math there. You come up with 39 days away. That's close.
It's a risk, man.
You're talking about 6 weeks at most.
Yeah. There's a lot that it can make the next fight bigger. He goes out there and knocks out a dog like Mike Perry, but Mike Perry's different than some of these other guys. Like, he will go in there, kill me, you know?
Go with me.
Oh, 100%.
Let's get into a dog fight. I want to see Jake Paul in a dog fight with a dog and Mike Perry. Let's do it. I'm not too worried about the next fight. I would much rather see this one.
Oh, 100%. I'm just looking at it from the vantage point of the Jake Paul business.
Oh, yes. Yeah. If
there's a risk. There's a risk involved.
Yeah, there's a risk. Let's do it, though. You got to take risks in life, and Mike Perry, Jake Paul is a great one.
He'd be bigger than Mike.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously one of the drawbacks, but
not that much younger. Like, you can't at this on this particular one, you can't say like, oh, he's fighting an older guy.
Yeah, I mean, what is Mike Perry, 35, 36?
No, I think Mike Perry's like 32. What?
Wow,
you don't believe me?
No. Of course, I'm not accusing you of lying about Mike Perry's age.
Think he's Mike Perry?
I think that threw me off even more. 32 years old. Yeah,
born in 91.
Sheesh.
Chee-wee-wee.
Mike Perry's just barely older than me, man.
Well, he looks older, right?
Yeah, it just feels like because he had the UFC career and now it feels like he's been in BKFC for like 3 or 4 years. Like, it just feels like he's been around the block for longer. Yeah, 27-year age difference between the Mikes there.
Yeah,
Perry and Tyson. So yeah, sign me up for platinum, man. Nice little summer at the box office with Mike Perry. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit bummed that it isn't done. I really thought it was done.
Done deal. No, at the moment, no.
Yeah.
Do I think he fights on the 20th? I think there's a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, through my grapevines, I'd heard some rumblings, and then I saw all the stuff yesterday.
Man, you got sources too, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
By the
obviously they remain unnamed as it has to be.
By the way, here's a little tip for everyone online. The Happy Punch report, love the Happy Punch guys, but their report said that this fight was happening via sources within Jake Paul's camp. That is the telltale sign that it's not sources within the Jake Paul's camp. This is what everyone wants when they tell you things like off the record. They say, hey, if you put it out, can you say it's from the other side's, camp so that we don't get in trouble? They always do that. So no one would ever want to say, hey, you can say it's from the camp, but don't say my name. If anything, they want it to be on the other side or have nothing to do with it, just keep it anonymous. Do you know what I'm saying? So the report said from within Jake's camp, and I was like, oh, that's 1,000% not within Jake's camp. That's actually the opposite side, or someone that's trying to like spoil the party, and they just want the blame and the chaos to be within Jake's camp and people pointing fingers and leaks and all that stuff. So just a little... a little tip from the biz, so to speak. I have a question here from Andrew Feldman, our good friend, who was at the live event May 31st. At what point does the UFC owe the fans an explanation or an update? Plenty of us fans have spent thousands of dollars on tickets/travel and have zero update from the UFC. I don't believe McGregor or Chandler owe us an explanation. This isn't McGregor Promotions or Chandler Promotions. We have seen from the UFC's most recent behind-the-scenes Fight Inc. series with Dana, Hunter, and Jones that Dana has most likely said the exact same thing to McGregor as he did to Jones. Hey, keep this quiet until we get our shit figured out. I know that the UFC is historically the best of the best at fixing these types of situations, but for the UFC to keep everyone in complete dark for almost 10 plus days is pretty insane and almost disrespectful, but not completely surprising. What do you think of that?
Sorry, Frank just distracted me with some fake breaking news.
Jesus, Frank. We're talking about serious stuff here.
I see that.
He just he asked me about Francis Ngannou, Hernan Ferreira. And I
what?
I thought something just broke.
What? Wait. I'm dying to know why that is relevant right now. Was it just
me,
like...
I just like to red herring this and confuse that. No, it was on DraftKings for PFL.
Yeah.
just
to bet against Dakota.
Things. Maybe.
Oh, that's a nice angle.
And then just at the bottom, it's like Ngannou Pereira. I'm like,
but how did you frame the question? You turned to me
and I was like, dude, hit the news. No, I asked if it was an actual thing.
You said, is this Hernan Ferreira Francis Ngannou fight legit?
To answer Ariel's question,
as I'm reading a question, actually a very well put together question by our good friend. You didn't hear a word of it?
No, I didn't hear a word. I was deep diving into to see if we got a date booked for Francis Ngannou and Ferreira. I thought we were about to break some news here.
In any event, the question is, it's a statement / question from Andrew Feldman. And it is basically, let me get to I'll skip the other stuff.
Shout out to Andrew Feldman. I mean,
here it is, in short. At what point does the UFC owe the fans an explanation or an update? It's been 10 plus days. He says, this isn't McGregor Promotions. It's not Chandler Promotions, but it's UFC. This has been lingering. No one has said a thing. The only updates that we're getting, let's just pretend for a second that I have not said anything, right? The press conference gets canceled, right? It doesn't happen. Last minute, plug pulled. People are just now, like, for the last 10 days, just speculating, or have they moved on, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't know.
That wasn't the case.
It's still just pure speculation online as well. Like,
no, listen,
on Twitter.
I know people don't believe me.
Crazy.
People think I'm trying my best to stay relevant. People think like it's madness. And I get it. I actually understand it to a degree. I will also say I've never been more certain that the younger fans or the people that frequent social media, I've never been more certain that they don't understand what journalism is. I've never been more certain of this because they think that the updates are just an attempt to, I don't know, stay relevant, make shit up, be in the, like, no, this is an ongoing developing story. And I've really tried to update you every step of the way. And you could believe me or not, at some point you will realize that every single thing that I have said is 1,000% right. They have done a great job of keeping this ironclad, but I do think the biggest fight of the year deserves this type of coverage, especially when it's on life support. And so it's not on me, it's not on Mike, it's not on Conor to speak about it. But the question that Andrew is asking is, at what point do they owe the fans an explanation, especially the ones who have, flights, tickets, hotels attached to this? Historically, I will say the UFC will not talk about it until there's a resolution. Whether the resolution is it's off, whether the resolution is there's a new fight, there's a replacement for Conor, there's a new fight at the top, or it's business as usual and a bullet has been dodged. They don't usually come out and say, this is happening, we're working on it, stand by. That's what they don't usually do. I will also concede these things don't usually last 10 days, It's usually like 2 days.
Right. I think that they have already owed the fans an explanation. We're 17 days away from the fight. The press conference was canceled 9-10 days ago. We have not heard anything. We still don't know if the fight is happening or not. I don't think we have gotten anything, though, because they don't have a resolution. What you just said, I don't think they've reached one yet.
Yeah.
So I think...
Oh, they don't no, I know for a fact they don't have a resolution.
Right. I think that's why it's crickets on their end.
And do you agree with me that there will not be anything said until there is a resolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until everything is sorted, then they will come out and say.
Is it unfair to expect otherwise? Because let me put myself in
what
their
could they
shoes.
say? If there's no resolution, what could they say?
Right, well,
fight might be off.
Or no,
We're trying to figure it out.
At some point, the fight
is off.
Right. So do you want to throw everything in a frenzy and say, hey, fight's off, we're working on a new fight? It just doesn't happen. Could it happen? Sure. But historically, that's just not the way they do business.
And I don't think they're going to start with this fight.
It's too big.
Because it would throw it into a frenzy.
It really is a nightmare scenario. I do not envy them.
Sure. They're scrambling.
Biggest gate ever and biggest star ever. And
they're after 3 years away.
And I'll tell you this. Last week when I said that there were feelers being sent out, that's what they were. Now it's like it's much more than feelers.
Can you fight on June 20th?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Fight Inc. is going to be crazy next year.
Golly, imagine they're filming all this. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. Henry, hi, Ariel. 2 quick things. Firstly, you keep saying Alfonzo Davies is a right back. He's a left back. LOL. Did I say that, really?
It's widely known that you said he's a...
I said right back? It's widely known?
Yeah.
Why didn't anyone correct me? I'm still...
I don't know. We were just sort of having fun
Who, me?
with it.
I'm still trying to figure out... By the way, if I am saying right back, which I don't know if I am, it's 100%.
Yeah, there's several times that you said right.
It's 100% my kid's
Frankie
fault.
was like, dude, it's a left back.
They have told me.
Davies.
Any soccer knowledge that I know is from them. So if that's what I'm saying, it's their fault. Anyway, big draw against France on Sunday. I don't know if you saw that.
That was nice.
Also, I thought there was a rule in the Ringer where you only had fighters ranked in the pound for pound who had a fight in the last year or a fight book. So why is Jon Jones ranked, or have I got it messed up? So it's a great question. My personal rule, this is just my rule. If you had a fight booked but got hurt within the year, you're still ranked. So Jon Jones had a fight booked for November. Until we get to November, he's still eligible. Now, again, this is just, me making shit up. There is no rule, but I kind of feel like that's the I kind of think that that's the most fair thing to do. JJ something. Hi, Ariel. I have a recommendation for an anime or the boys Frank and GC would like. It's one you can even watch with your kids. It's called Hajime no Ippo, and it's about boxing and a younger boxer named Ippo rising through the ranks. It's realistic, exciting, addictive, and it shows the tactics and strategies of boxing. I guarantee you'll be hooked after 2-3 episodes. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah, actually, I have heard of it.
I was afraid
awesome.
that he was trying to mess with me given his name, but it's a real thing.
No, it's a real. Wait, what was his name again?
I don't want to say it.
Also,
yes, it's definitely a real thing. A very nice recommendation from.
I'm gonna check it out. Hope it's on
Well,
Crunchyroll.
Shout out. Let's see if it is.
Going back to the previous question real quick.
Yes.
Imagine
There
if
is.
you wrote a book called like Ariel Helwani's quintessential definition of pound for pound,
Oh, that's a great.
and you just detailed what you think pound for pound is. People would buy the book just to argue with every point, right?
Sure.
And then it would be a seller.
How long of a book would this be?
I mean, I'm talking
Chapter
500
2?
pages
Okay, wow.
with errata and updates sent out as like quarterly magazines. Let me get someone on the phone. Hold on one second.
What's errata?
When you've made a mistake in the original printing and you want
Oh
to,
my
like,
dear.
wow.
Here we go again.
This is a great one from Matt Moe. Hope you guys don't mind weighing in on this because I can't. Sup, Ariel? Break the fourth wall. New York Rick's absence on Monday made me wonder what a Vox employee sickness/leave benefits are. For example, if Frankie or Joe in the back want to take a day off the show, are they entitled to a set amount of days off per year? Would love to find out. Thanks for all you do. Anyone want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, technically, yes. I don't know. Our employment here is a little bit different. Yeah, like if I needed a day off, I don't know. If I needed a day off, I would just take a day off. But like the chance of me, we only do the show 2 days a week, so I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that it's not a show day. And if it's not a show day, then you just kind of do what you have to do.
What is the Vox sick day policy, though? I think that would be enlightening.
Don't know.
From what I've heard, and anyone could correct me, is that there isn't like a finite amount of sick days.
Oh yes, we technically have unlimited
I mean,
PT.
Yeah.
I asked for 6
I
months
think
off.
that's,
They denied it.
Yeah.
Now,
Doesn't sound like
I-
unlimited PTO to me.
I'm a contractor, so if I don't work, that's on me.
You'll get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit us up every summer and they're just like, summer Fridays, make sure to take yours. I'm just like, I'll get right on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fridays.
Bobby, good day, Ariel A. Al. In my opinion, Islam Makhachev has quietly been developing into one of the biggest bright spots of the sport. His respectfulness and candor, along with his great sense of humor, always make his interviews a joy to watch, especially if DC is involved. It is unfortunate that we don't get to enjoy his presence on the MMA Hour thanks to a certain someone. Having said that, is there any chance of a Kayla Harrison type exemption to get the pound for pound #1 fighter on the pound for pound #1 show? Peace and love. There was once a time where Islam was just a young buck coming up in the game, and people were like, "Can you please have him on?" Of course, we'll have him on. We don't discriminate. But now, no, I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. Ryder, what's up, Ariel, GC, Frank, and Rick? For each of you guys, what is your dream replacement if McGregor and Chandler fight does fall through? Thank you, guys. Golly.
I don't have a dream replacement.
You don't. You're saying
There's
cancel.
nothing I'm dreaming of. I want McGregor Chandler. That's the dream fight to see on June 29th.
Honestly, there's not a ton of options unless there's
Holloway
Chandler would be pretty sweet.
Light heavyweight.
Nothing will compare.
Anything, honestly, anything below the light heavyweight title, Max stepping in, will just feel like just a monster disappointment.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, it's going to feel like a monster disappointment.
Like, even if the fight goes through?
No. If the fight goes through, then of course. But if it doesn't, it's going to hurt.
Oh, my God. This is going to be up there with one. There hasn't been a ton of depressing cancellations in MMA. This will be up there with one of the most depressing.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking earlier, look, say the fight doesn't happen. Hope it does, but say it doesn't. So they reschedule. Do we go through this again on 307, 308? Do you know what I mean? Where there's all this buildup where, if some weird cancellation happens or somebody goes dark with information for a second, I don't know. Maybe my anxiety is so high that I'm anticipating how anxious it's going to feel next time.
Wait, can you say that again? What are you talking about?
Okay, so I'm talking about 303.
Yeah.
There's, as we were talking earlier, the UFC's been kind of dark about what's going on.
Yeah.
There's still hope for some of us that all of this is just going to be revealed as a non-issue, fight's still on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm imagining a situation where they have to come out and say, hey, the fight's not going to happen with Conor. Here's our resolution, blah, blah, blah. So then the next question is, okay, then when does Conor fight? And then hypothetically, throw out a 307, a 308, I don't know, right? I'm anticipating how scrutinized the build-up to that fight would be because everyone's just expecting it to get pulled again.
Yeah.
So if something goes dark, if a press conference gets canceled, that's where my mind's at right now.
That's why I feel like they should try to announce it. But yes, I mean, by the way, I feel like there was scrutiny going into this one too because it's been so long.
Right, and I'm still hoping for them to just come out and say all that scrutiny was unfounded, fight's on, all of you chill out.
Oh, so what you're trying to say is you want them to come out and say that I was wrong.
I mean, if that's one read of it, yeah.
Yes. By the way, I do have a breaking news update. I see this from Sean O'Malley just now. Did you see this? I'll fight Jake Paul to save UFC 303.
Yeah, go ahead. Book it. Sounds good.
Would that suffice?
I mean, that would be such a circus. You're talking Jake Paul signs with the UFC.
Dana allows Jake Paul to sign.
Cuts to bantamweight. We get 135 Jake Paul in there, and they fight in MMA.
Crazy. Congrats to Jake, by the way. He launched a male, what would you call it?
Cologne or something.
No, like a deodorant.
W or something?
Yeah. At first I was like, is this in honor of the WNBA? But now I think it's because that was another thing my son said to me recently. Like, is this we're talking about going to a restaurant. Same son.
Gosh,
he said, is this a W restaurant?
I thought you were going to say you guys went to I don't know, the McDonald's drive-thru, and he was just like, W. This is a W.
Not only did he say, is it a W restaurant, then he followed it up with, is it a W Riz restaurant?
Nah, see that. Listen, dude, I'm not that up on the lingo, but I feel like that's taking it a step.
He's just throwing things.
W Riz restaurant. I feel like W is where we should stop it.
He's throwing everything at me here. Okay. Amazing. Hi, Ariel. On a previous episode, I remember hearing Mysterious Frank and Conor make comments to you about the way you store your coffee beans. After hearing their comments, I've been wanting to ask them what their coffee setup is like. But before I could ask, This information was revealed in the last episode of the MMA Hour. I must have manifested this, LOL. Anyways, I was wondering if you still store your coffee the same way or if you finally started using a vacuum canister. Oh, I got that thing like the next week. I have a thing that goes.
Man. This exactly what I was describing.
Yeah, I think you sent me it. Like you told me, you sent me. Of course,
Yeah,
you didn't buy
we
it for
need
me. You sent me the link.
The finder's fee. You remember I mentioned that? I was like,
Yeah.
hey, here's the link, but
Yeah.
here's the Venmo. Wink, wink.
No, it's great. Also, he writes, P.S. I just started a coffee business and would love to send you some coffee beans. Please let me know what you think about them and where I can send them to you. Wow. Thank you. We'll address that offline. Slava, hey, Ariel. After the Cannonier controversy, you once again critiqued the show win model, but I'd love to know how you'd realistically fix it. Oh, I know. How about just like one lump sum? From the UFC's perspective, giving the full show and guaranteeing half the win would average out about the same percentage payout for fighters. No. I'm just saying, like, you cut a deal and you say, hey, if you're going to fight on this day, you're getting this amount. That's all. Like, you guys figure out the economics. You figure out the math. I just don't like the idea that a guy like Jared Cannonier at 40, who's fought for the belt, who always shows up, who always tries to win and deliver, needs to be worrying about, oh, I've now lost half of what I thought I was going to make or was hoping to make because I got screwed. It's just not like, you want to do the bonuses, the 50K, great. And I understand why they instituted it back in 05 or 06 when, you know, they were an up and coming company and they wanted people to just fight their hearts out to the death. You know, obviously not to the death, but you know, they wanted to entice and incentivize people to actually go out there and put on a show. We don't need that anymore. No one needs to be incentivized with that. And so that's why I feel like more and more contracts don't have that. And it was unfortunate to hear that his did. If tomorrow the UFC would agree to this, would you support this? And how do you think the fighters would react? So instead of going 15 and 15, new fighters are guaranteed 22 and a half. Fair trade or nah? I mean, nah, because you're hoping to win. You all think you're going to win. I'm just saying, like, cut a deal where whatever it is, they know what they're getting. By the way, show win for like contender series are tough. I'm down with that. But like a veteran? No. He says, I'd love to hear Rick's perspective too. Unfortunately, he's not feeling well. Trin Wolf, bonjour Ariel. J'ai une question sur Paris et les Olympiques. Any update on the Olympics coverage schedule? Are there certain sports you'll be specifically covering? What are you most looking forward to? I'll be hosting a show for the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, called Paris Tonight, that will air every night. And I do believe will be available to people worldwide if you care to check it out digitally. And we will be recapping the day with a focus on Canada. We'll be recapping the day. Basically, like today, you know, in swimming, Penny Alexiak got a bronze medal. It's now her 7th medal, blah, 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 blah. Over in this, that, here's a sit down with this person. Here's a package on this. We'll also be going out in the streets, doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is big time stuff. So big time, by the way, believe it or not, guys, tomorrow I have a fitting with Lululemon, the sponsor of said program, and they're going to fit me. We're gonna do like a fitting. They're gonna give me clothes to wear every day.
That's awesome.
How do we feel about this?
Lululemon is a Canadian clothing company, right?
Sure is, British Columbia.
And I don't know why I know these things about Lululemon, but like when they make something
Yes.
and they sell out of it, that's it. They move on to another design.
Oh, really?
So it's like whatever they fit for you will be one of a kind.
They're the official provider for Team Canada, yeah?
And my show. Well, the show I'll be hosting. So very excited about that.
I mean, some of the stuff for Team Canada is pretty sick.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're on the website?
Yeah. Some sick jackets.
Yeah, it should be cool. I might try to link up with Bon Gamin, Surreal God.
Oh, yeah.
Benoit
Shut up.
Saint.
France also has some sick stuff for the Olympics.
Trin also writes, I'll be traveling to France in exactly 1 year from today, June 12, 2025. Would you be willing to chronicle some of your favorite food spots and any tips for someone visiting La Ville Lumière, the lit up city, for their first time and share them with us? Sure. Should I do like a blog? Should I do a fight feast out there? I feel like I'll
Please.
just be eating in like the cafeteria or something.
You're like, it's good.
Yeah. Persian apothecary always messes up. Hey Ariel, have you ever considered tattoos or piercings? Piercings, no. I do like a good tattoo. I've dreamed of having a sleeve. Would you believe it? The problem is old Jewish custom states that you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have tattoos.
But what about across the street?
Yeah.
When you first told me this, I was like, well, there's got to be a market for this. Be like, yo, we got this land right outside. Get all the tattoos you want.
Sure.
Family's still there. People can come visit. And you look sick because you got all the tattoos.
No. I'm sure there are places, but the ones that we frequent don't do it, unfortunately. He also writes, you don't seem like someone who has either, but if you got any of these, where would you get a piercing and what tattoo would you get? Sleeve. Love a good sleeve. Sleeve with maybe some like colors, or maybe just the black, all black, like Aaron Chalmers. Piercings just kind of weird me out. You have any piercings, Frank?
I had my labret pierced when I was like 18.
Your what?
Labret. It's the skin right underneath your bottom lip, above your chin.
You did?
And yeah, because
God, I would
I
love to see that.
also like you were like, piercings are kind of lame and whatever. And then I decided just to get one because it's not as permanent as a tattoo. I could tell you the piercing process was cool. The care for the, let's be honest, it's a wound, was also cool, reminiscent of treating a tattoo. But then, like, the oral fixation and, like, playing with it, I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking it out after about a month.
Oh, wow. GC doesn't have any tattoos, right?
No,
Piercings?
not yet.
Damn.
Full sleeve on the right,
Considering it?
full sleeve on the left, maybe.
Double sleeve.
Nah, just go one sleeve and then get the oppo on the leg.
Oh, nice.
Down
Catty
ankle
corner.
to thigh.
I was also considering the KD type chest tattoo thing. You remember when he had that?
Yeah, I've been considering the Action Bronson since I went bald. Get one up top.
Yeah. Some fire.
Sick. Oh yeah, for sure.
This is a good one. Joel, hey, Ariel and the Parlay Pals. This sounds 10 times better than the Parlay Boys, in my opinion. Sorry, Julianne. I'm a religious listener of your pod as well as the Ringer MMA show. I love how you've been diving into your morals / ethics / code of reporting news. As a follow-up to some recent discussions, what do you do when you've been told something, quote, off the record by someone, but then receive the same news by someone else on the record? Is this now fair game to report by your standards? What a fantastic question. One day, actually, one of my dreams, among many, owning a coffee shop, maybe a barber shop, would also be to just kind of do like one semester as a professor or two. And this is a great like moral dilemma. This is actually why when I call someone for information, I'll actually tell them what I know first so that they know that it's not coming from them, if that makes sense. Now, if someone tells me something that I don't know and it's quote unquote off the record, and someone else tells me something that it's on the record, but it's the same thing that was told to me off the record by someone else, I will then call that other person back and say, this has now been told to me. Are you comfortable with me reporting it? Obviously, I wouldn't attribute it to you because you told it to me off the record, but since you told it to me first, it's only fair. If they say I really don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, I have to respect that. If the first time it was told to me was off the record, you have to respect that. I wish people understood like how much goes into this and how much you should abide by these rules. And if you didn't, no one would tell you anything. If you don't have trust, you have zero. You have nothing. If you don't have the trust that someone could call you and you could keep it off the record and not, hint at it. Forget about like attributing it to them. Hint at it. You'd have nothing. Wouldn't be here. So that's a great one. That's a fantastic one. And it's and sometimes people don't know the difference between off the record and on background. When someone tells you something's on background, that just means they don't want their name attached, but you can do whatever you want with the information. When they say it's off the record, what they mean, at least to me, is this cannot be touched, either anonymous or not, sourced or not. My rule has always been, unless noted at any point of the conversation, it's always off the record. because I want to talk to someone and I don't want them to be like, oh shit, this part, that part. Like I know I need it said specifically that it's on the record. In fact, one time a fighter called me up and went ballistic because he thought he was talking to a reporter off the record, and then they did a whole article on it, and they freaked out. And I couldn't do much about it, to be honest. But from that point forward, I was like, all right, it has to, really before that, to be honest. But this was early in my career. I was like, sometimes people just don't know the difference. So it's way better. There's no scoop that is more important than a relationship. So you can't risk it. Coleman, in the moment in question, what would it take to swap Saudi card for McGregor card? They're not doing that. Jay Billing, hi Ariel and the team. My question is, when you were in university, what was the best piece of advice you got about becoming a sports journalist? And the second part, what was the best work experience you get, which became invaluable looking back at the time? Golly, there's a lot there. I mean, to answer the second one, coming out of school and working at HBO Sports was an incredible opportunity because, I mean, to me, they were the gold standard as far as sports journalism was concerned. And I got to that was my first job in TV, and I got to really learn from incredible minds, such talented people about what it takes to put on a good product. So I feel very, very lucky that was my first introduction to the TV world. As far as advice is concerned, I mean, there's been a lot over the years, but I've really always tried to, be honest, stay true to myself. A big thing is not being in anyone's pocket and trying to, to be as impartial as possible. And yes, I know that's where I fucked up back in the day with Fox. And it's the biggest regret of my career so far. And hopefully there'll never be a bigger one than that. But yeah, I've really always tried to be honest and fair. And sometimes that means asking certain things, but always in a respectful manner. And I do believe that it's not always about this interview; it's about the next one too. And so you never want someone closing the Zoom or walking away from you being like, "That guy's a dick. I'm never going to talk to him ever again." I just, I want them to come back over and over and over again. And so you don't want anyone ever to feel like they were being taken advantage of or put in an uncomfortable situation and all that stuff. So yeah, there's a few things there for sure. I saw one and now it's gone. Greetings, Ariel. With the snub of Caitlin Clark of the Olympic squad, do you think the committee dropped the ball? Yes, not taking advantage of their once-in-a-lifetime up to this point golden goose, the revenue earned and attention she brings could have really helped the women's sport globally. Look, you have to pick the 12 best. I do think she deserves it on merit, on skill. I would never pretend to be a WNBA expert, but even if she didn't play all that much, there's a long history of younger, soon-to-be superstars, which she is, if not already, not getting a ton of playing time like they do in their league or on their team, and that being okay. And I just think her being with those veterans would be gigantic for Team USA, would be gigantic for her progression and evolution as a player, and would be gigantic for the women's basketball games in the Olympics next month. So yeah, I was surprised. I think there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Caitlin Clark, a lot of jealousy, a lot of like, oh, you're going to have to pay your dues and work your way up type of stuff. And it's interesting to see it all play out. But I think she's done enough to earn it. And I think that she should have been on the team. Okay, we'll do a couple more here. No soup for you. The amount of long-ass questions on here is ridiculous. Keep it short, you dopes. Yeah. He also says, what do you think of Chael telling Ben Fowlkes that he made $35K for the first Anderson Silva fight? Surely he's trolling how much he sticks up for Dana and the UFC brass. Cheers, lads. Honestly, I don't actually think that he's lying. Maybe a very good chance he got a bonus afterwards for the way in which he sold the fight. But like, as far as what his pay was, I don't think that that's a crazy thing, believe it or not. He wasn't who he is now when he was fighting back at UFC 117. He was, UFC 104, 13 shows prior, pay-per-views prior, he was on the untelevised prelims against Yushin Okami, who's the number one contender at 185. Untelevised. There's no way to watch it, which is kind of ironic considering there's no way to watch his fight against Anderson this weekend. Untelevised. That's how far we've come. Ariel, GC, Frank, and Rick, what are your thoughts on Jamahal Hill and his comments on the Pereira KO? So much for not making excuses and taking his L. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. What do you think about this, GC? Like, I think it's crazy when I see these guys talking about this, and then you see people in the comments being like, bro, just take the L. Like, they're freaking fighters, man. Let him process it. Let him deal with it. This doesn't bother me. Like, there's no rules. Like, who the fuck are we to talk about how he should deal with a knockout loss or a loss of any kind of that magnitude? Everyone deals with losses differently. Everyone deals with setbacks differently. I think it's super weird for the fans or the community to tell him how he should behave. Is it probably better if you deal with it one way as opposed to another way? Sure. But like, my general opinion is, who the hell are we?
Yeah, I somewhat agree with you to the point where like it doesn't really bother me. Like he's just going to do what he does. But I do feel that it's odd that it's 2 months after the fight now and he's bringing up all these things of what Alex Pereira did and how he was able to achieve the knockout, and then trying to talk shit to him by talking about when he got knocked out by Izzy. I felt like that was a weird flex. Like, yeah, you knocked me out, but you remember when this guy knocked you out?
Yeah.
It's just like you're coming off of a knockout loss to him. I just don't understand like why he is harping on this so much. I just don't feel like he's doing himself any favors by continuing to go at it. It's like you lost the fight. Maybe you'll get another chance at redemption down the line. But for now, like, you did get knocked out by him.
Is it possible that they consider doing Jamahal versus Alex at 303, given all this talk over the past week? Maybe he's putting it into overdrive to drum up new interest in it.
Man, I don't think so.
No, okay, fine.
He's already got the fight booked with Olberg.
Yeah, but they can move that around in a second.
They've already been talking to Yuri.
All right. AMW, this is a great one. AMW Planner. You'll remember this person from last week. Konnichiwa, again, Ariel's son in the MMA Hour. Thank you for reading my question last week and nailing the pronunciation. How ironic was it that you had Nobuyuki Sakakibara, and I think this is a woman, by the way, right? Because they said last week, I think, I'll just say they just to be safe. Writing in Japanese is amazing on the show. After I suggested more Japanese fighter, I know. First things first, I have to respond to Mysterious Frank. Uniqlo is pronounced Uniqlo. You said it right.
Yep, I sure did.
Next, Tatsuya
This has been on
Taira.
Frank's mind for ages. This is the biggest win this guy has gotten since
That
March.
was the happy birthday I'd ever got.
Well,
Yes, yeah. This is a huge one for Frank. I'm actually I'm real proud of him in this moment.
you could thank AMW Planner.
Let's go shopping at Uniqlo after this for it to celebrate.
Hell yeah. And I'd also love to know why your name is AMW Planner. What does that mean? Anyway, next, Tatsuya Taira is fighting this weekend. How great would it have been to have him on the show next week? Oh, next week. I believe he's on a 15-fight winning streak and is unbeaten. I would love to see him on the MMA Hour. That deserves a conversation, with Ariel, right? Sure. If he wins, of course. I have no affiliation with Tatsuro. I just like seeing Japanese fighters in the UFC and support them. I do not want the language barrier to get in the way of connecting with fans in the USA, though. If only Fabiano Busque, the GOAT in translation, spoke Japanese. Lastly, because you seem to enjoy it, here are your names in Japanese. Oh, I love it. They wrote my name, Mysterious Frank's name, New York Rick's name, and Connor GC's name. I hope this question makes it to the show, and seriously, let me know if I can help in any way. I feel like we need AMW Planner to translate for it to Toyotara. Are you available?
That's a great idea.
Ryan, hello, Ariel. Just a little realization coming out of Monday. It seems you've never needed to take a 10-1 or a 10-2 during the show. Have you ever experienced a near accident while in the middle of a segment? Given your coffee consumption, it seems the only answer could be yes. No. Answer is no. Have we had to go? Yes, but never to the point where we were, really struggling or worried. Thank you for asking, though. Mary Jo Medtexes. Hi, everyone. I was curious with MMA and combat sports being something that can be so immersive and take up so much time. How do you give yourselves balance in life? You feel like family to me. And a side note, not only did you all get me through the pandemic, but also helped me through a breast cancer diagnosis and treatment. Looking forward to our bi-weekly get-togethers has been the bright spot of every week. And yes, I'm currently no evidence of disease. Always a fan of each and every one of you guys. Mary Jo. Well done, Mary Jo. That is incredible. And congratulations and well done. And I'm delighted for you. Balance. Balance is an interesting thing. Kids bring balance for me. Activities, having to deal with other things in life. But yes, it can be tough. Early on in my career, I was so obsessive. I don't think if I was 30 and starting out my career 30 in 2012, that's when I started with Fox and all that, and I didn't have kids, I think I would have driven myself crazy. But when you have a young one, 2, 3, that gives you balance and perspective. So that was very helpful to me, especially in the early days. And so I don't always do a great job of this, if I'm being honest, but I'm trying. And I really think that it's very important because you can drive yourself nuts, especially with the internet and the phone and all that stuff. Anyways, well done. Slim Fit Hugo Boss, Ariel, you're the GOAT, Glaze Alert, thank you. Are you surprised the UFC hasn't put out a press release surrounding the McGregor-Chandler fight? No. Members of the MMA media are puzzled as to why there hasn't been a press release. I mean, they never do that. Why would they do that? We're working on a new fight. They don't do that. They just announce a new fight. Why would the UFC announce that Conor is hurt and the fight is in jeopardy? Seems like an admittance that something is off. Say nothing, run promos, cross your fingers. I think this has been a roller coaster. I think they thought it was on, then off, then on, then off. I don't think that they're doing this on purpose. I know the thought is to think the worst, but I don't think they're doing it on purpose. Jamahal 2020, aloha Ariel, I have a bone to pick with you. Why didn't you stream your last event? NJPAC wouldn't let us. As a fan who lives way out in Hawaii, I can't make it out to New Jersey to attend your events, but I'm a loyal fan. Just look out for the little guys. Spend a lot of money listening to your free content. Well, that's the key word, free. It has always been free, and we give you a lot, and they wouldn't let us. But we did put it on pod thanks to Frank. So it's up on the Helwani Show podcast feed right now. And, sometimes it has to be for the, the people in attendance. That's it. Mike, hello, friends. Hope you're all having a good week. My question is, how do you feel about the UFC constantly taking subliminal shots at you and the MMA Hour? What? I know you've said countless times about taking the high road and wishing them nothing but the best, but with the video they put out post 300 and the media and the shots they sent your way in the new documentary, I didn't see any shots. Did you see shots, GC?
No. I also haven't watched it all.
Can you give some context on why the UFC continues to be petty to programs like yours when you've been nothing but honest about their ups and downs? Thank you again. Love you guys. I think you answered it right there. Nothing but honest about their ups and downs. But as long as we're honest and not embellishing, isn't that all that one can ask? I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I say peace and love, peace and love. Okay, 2 more. Ariel, with all the talks from Iman, with all the talk of Conor's contract coming up, I wonder, why on earth would he resign? Resign. He would make way more money fighting in Saudi and super fights or even his own promotion. Being a part of the machine. Ask some fighters who left. It's a lot of stress. A lot of money, but a lot of stress. Surely he looks back at what boxers are making and thinks he can make similar. Sure. Plus he has no hope of getting back to a title. I think he does. You can only pick one. Knicks, Bills, Forest. You've asked me this already, and it's tough. It's too tough.
I feel like it's the Knicks, yeah.
I mean, right now I'm in Knicks mode because it's like spring, summer. They just lost, but probably if I had to pick one, like the team that has, I was a fan of theirs like 90. I became a fan of the Bills in 91. So yeah, it's really tough. I would really love both of them. Well, by the way, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't I get both? Oh, how about this? Hello, Our Squad. My question is for GC from Janos. How is it even possible to ignore the rivalry between Man U and City? As a European football fan who's not even into any of these investor pump Premier League teams, I still cannot understand this level of ignorance towards football culture from a guy who I adore and knows and loves sports so much, even though he is American. Thanks for all the great work. I watch every episode. What is he talking about?
Me just being a Manchester man. Just a supporter of the city and anything that comes along with that, which includes supporting both Manchester City and Manchester United.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's...
He says ignorance and not being aware of the rivalry. I'm completely aware of the rivalry.
Yeah.
When I was in Manchester, one day I would wear Manchester United gear, and I'd be walking down the street, and people would be like, "Let's go, Manchester's red," and I'll be like, "You betcha." And then the next day I'd be wearing a Manchester City hat, and people would be like, "Yeah, Manchester City, let's go,
Yeah.
Manchester's blue," and I would be like, "You're damn right it is." So I'm just supporting the city, man. A city near and dear to me.
I mean, listen.
Just the guy from the Chester, just trying to make it in these streets, man.
Listen. No one should be able to tell you who you can root for.
Listen, FA Cup Saturday a couple weeks ago was just a fantastic day all around. I was coming out a winner no matter what.
Here's a good one. Andy, Ariel, clearly Jason Herzog scored a massive 10-2 as the inaugural big shitter, just outpointing Frank, who apparently believed the word ear starts with an A. Honorable mention to Dana for committing to the bit that slap is more popular than any form of sport or entertainment in the history of any civilization in the known universe. Can't wait to see what the future holds for this prestigious honor. Love always, Andy. Are you okay with these selections?
Yeah, I thought those were great. Actually, he's picking up the slack for me. I forgot about that. Yeah, the honorary inaugural big shitters. Yeah, I'll have to get a graphic made up. I forgot to do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
this will be good.
last one. So many good ones, golly. Joshua, Ariel, not including the live show a few weeks back, what is your proudest or favorite moment of the post-ESPN era of the MMA Hour? Same question for the rest of the crew. Cheers, lads. I don't know, man. I mean, we came back. We've had great moments. I'm just going off the top of my head. Action in studio, the Paulo Costa haircut, CM Punk in studio. Golly, what comes to mind is some biggies. I mean, the Dylan one, people like Conor coming in studio, Izzy before and after the Alex fight in studio, Max Holloway in studio. The DP chats have been great. Alex Pereira, first time in studio. Yuri in studio. I mean, there's been a lot. It's hard to pick one, right? You guys have anything?
I think the live show in Newark that wasn't streaming.
He said other than that, okay?
Oh, all right. I couldn't air.
What about you, GC?
Yeah, the ones you named were pretty good. Probably the McGregor one.
Yeah, that was a great
That was, I mean, just everything, how insane it was and how crazy it was. It wasn't your typical in-studio interview.
Yeah, and I was saying goodbye, and then I was like, I might see you later in the day.
I mean, dude, we were eating dinner here. I had my feet kicked up, and you were just like, he's 10 minutes out. And it was just like, all hell broke loose. It was like code red. I almost choked on whatever I was eating. Yeah, it was madness.
Yeah.
It was madness. And it was just like, what do you think that took? From arrival to leaving was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes? And it was just like a tornado hit the studio.
Tornado. And
I
also,
didn't know what happened. I was in this office for like 13 or 14 hours that day. And when I was leaving, I was just like, What a day. I don't even know what happened.
And there was like 50 people right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 50 people in there, another 20 back here. The guy had like an entire caravan.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, with the great questions.